Hello, welcome back to Oliver's Greenhouse. Thank you all for all the kind comments you made regarding my grandmother. This has gone down really well. In this video, we're going to be having a look at some seeds that I've got. We're going to be planting these up together. And these are tacker flowers, or bat flower. They come in two different species. I've got Tacker chantrierii and Tacker integrifolia, and they have the most amazing flowers, like completely out of this world. What I did, I'll put a picture up in the video about now. So you can see why I like them. They're just completely weird and fantastical. So I bought some seeds from a company called Plant World Seeds here in the UK, and they come with some brief instructions on how to plant them. Now they grow terrestrially on the ground in rainforest sort of environments, so they're going to grow really well if you're growing orchids in a similar environment. They like it quite shady, they also like quite high humidity, and they're relatively hardy. They won't take it any lower than about sort of 5 degrees centigrade, so you can grow them outside in the summer, but in the winter you're going to want to give them some protection. So what I'm going to do is we're going to be planting these together, and I'm going to be having a bit more of a chat about them as we go about it. So yeah, let's do it. Okay, so here are the seed packets that I've got from Plant World Seeds. We can see up here, and there's some pictures of each one of the different species. There's 10 species of bat flower in total, and they come from Southeast Asia. These guys are this integrifolia is like the really large. It's about twice the size of this. Chantrierii, and it's got these sort of white bracts on the flower, which have this sort of like purple veining through them. These ones are a lot smaller, but this is where the term bat flower comes from. It loosely looks like a bat. The flower's about 12 inches or a foot across, and then these tendrils which come at the bottom can be up to 28 inches in length. Go and have a look on Google. Just Google it, you'll see some of the pictures. They're really amazing. So they're going to like a rich humus layer style sort of compost, but it's going to be really free draining. So we're going to put a lot of perlite into the mix to encourage some air movement and also some free drainage. And then we're going to coat the surface of the media once it's potted up with some horticultural grit as well, just to combat any moss growth. And I've got a few bits set up over here, so I'm just going to be using the bright pink bucket over there to put some. I'm just using normal compost. I've got some perlite, some horticultural grit, and also I've got well, I basically had to scavenge around for all the pots I can basically lay my hands on. We're getting a bit thin on the ground. Back to the seeds themselves. I should probably have a look, see what they look like inside. I have opened them previously, and there's about 10 seeds in each packet, so they're sort of crescent moon shaped. If I hold them against the white background and really bring them up to the camera, you should be able to see them there. So there's approximately 10 in each packet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a shovel full of compost inside that pink container, to sort of half a shovel of perlite. Then we're going to pot them up. I'll probably pot them up inside because it's cold today, and we'll also label them up as well, so we know which ones are which. Okay, so this is just normal bog standard compost from the garden centre. That's what we're going to be using as the base for our media, and like I said, we're going to be cutting it with some perlite over here. Now I've got some leftover perlite in here. There's probably a third of the bag in there, so we're going to be putting the majority of this. Some of you have been watching for a bit longer realise I've just picked up a huge bag of this stuff off of Amazon. So we're going to put a good load in here. Not to be shy. Take my watch off before that gets caked and rubbish. And just give it a good mixing in. I seem to accumulate everything for free. Even this compost was just surplus compost from work that we just weren't using. It sat up the end in one of the polytunnels for, I don't know, best part of 2 years, and so it just wasn't doing anything. So I've pinched it, / borrowed it, / acquired it for the purposes of this. In fact, just for this video, really. I can already feel it. Just want to break off any of the large bits in there, because obviously where these guys live in sort of a composted layer of leaf litter, they're going to get, although it's going to be damp, it's not always going to be soaking all the time, and they are prone to rot. Also, looking at the vegetative nature of the leaves, they're very soft. They're probably going to be quite prone to things like spider mites, so you have to keep a real eye out for pests. Because the leaves get pretty big, the leaves get this sort of long, and then the flower itself is approximately that wide with its long tendrils. So I'm actually going to grow it under the benches in the greenhouse, because it won't get too much light there. Needs, I mean, maximum, or minimum should I say, about 60% shade you want to be able to provide for this. It's starting to look really good now. Still think a little bit more perlite wouldn't go amiss. I prefer to have my compost quite dry as well. This is quite dry in here. It makes it a lot easier to mix up. Worse than wet, soggy compost when you're trying to do this. Okay. Now, what we'll do is we'll do the potting up inside. What I'm going to do is just basically fill these sort of like a sort of selection of different size containers. I was going to originally put it straight into one of these seed trays, but pricking them out is going to be a pain in the backside afterwards. What I like to do is start them off in something like this. I would normally put some crocking in the bottom, but because I'm going to drop them on, by which I mean basically I'll let it germinate in here, establish itself, and when it comes time to pot it up into sort of a 10-inch pot, because these guys don't like being pot bound, I'll literally just give it a squeeze, take the whole plant out, and just plant the whole thing up. So I don't want any crocking in the bottom, because obviously that's going to ruin the soil horizons in the new pot. So basically it's just going to be a case of filling these up, tamping them down, and getting them ready for just putting the seeds into. Just give them a little tap. We want to leave a little bit of space as well, because obviously we're going to be covering this in horticultural grit, so we want a little bit of a rim on these. Okay, so this is all the equipment you're going to need. You're going to need a pint of fine ale, all of your pots with your media, so that we've got that loose, we've increased the draining capabilities of this soil by adding this granular perlite, which is going to help trap pockets of air in the media. It's also going to help it drain, and it's going to make it a much more favourable rooting environment for the seeds that we're going to put straight into it. Now normally, I recommend probably doing this in a plug tray. You know what plug trays are, basically. They've got this basically like miniature pots all joined together like a cell, because then it's easier just to transplant. But they'll be able to, once they germinate, they'll be able to retain or stay in these pots for a lot longer, which means I haven't got to be transplanting them about. It's just easier for me to do it. So there's a number of ways you can do it. There's a lot of information you can find on the internet on how to do this. So if in doubt, just go and have a look on there. So I've also written up some tags as well, so we know what they are. I've got a set of tweezers just to make life easier planting them. We're not going to bury the seeds, we're just going to lay them on top of the soil surface here, and then we're going to cover it with some of this sand, just to inhibit weed growth. Unfortunately, we've got a bit of a wobbly table going on here, which is a little bit infuriating. It's not really made it any better at all. Not anything to step on it. It'll be fine, we'll crack on anyway. So the first ones I'm going to plant are going to be the the Chantrierii seed, so the original bat flower. I've just got them on a sheet of A4 paper so we can actually see, or I can actually see them, because once again I've left my glasses at work so I can't really see anything. Hopefully we've got enough pots to do all of this. Hopefully. Remember, not very good volume here at Oliver's greenhouse. Okay, so there's little black sort of half moon shaped seeds. And also this is still dry, so I haven't actually wetted this yet in the slightest. What I'm actually going to do is, I am going to just place them on top. I'm going to put the sand on top of that to bury it ever so slightly. Then I'm going to spray it with a mister. And then actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them into seed trays like this one here. You can kind of see this one sat in. And I'm actually going to water from the bottom so that it absorbs some water upwards. So that hopefully we've got a zone at the top of the pot which isn't just saturated. So it should be relatively easy. Just take one of these, pop it on top like that, and then just take a handful of sand and just scatter it thinly over the top of the pot like this. Just use your finger just to push it into the corners. And these are going to have to go somewhere really shaded. You don't want any direct sunlight. If you're doing this at home, you haven't got the benefits of a greenhouse. The seed trays that come with the clear plastic lid would be really good for these to keep that humidity up. And then something like a west or a west-facing windowsill would be ideal, just to keep them out of the direct sun, because those things can be death if you're not careful. They heat up so quickly. And all we're going to do is just slap a tag in those pots like that. That's one done, one out of X number. I've also got these funny shaped pots here as well. What I think I might do is the plants that I germinate in these, so I'll do 2 of each. Actually, these are quite similar size. What I'll do is I'll do 2 of the Chantrierii and 2 of the Integrifolia, and then what I'll do is I'll run a little competition. A simple one, put everyone's names into a hat, do a draw, and I will send these off to the winners if they germinate. That's a big if, so we'll have to wait and see about that. But that should be good fun, and you also get a free plant out of it as well if you enter. So what I'll do now is just get on and do these, and we'll stop and have a little bit of a chat briefly before I take them out and put them back in the greenhouse. Okay, so here's everything potted up back in the greenhouse. I'm just going to give everything a really good, turn that a little bit too fine, that's a little bit too heavy, somewhere in the middle, that's better. Just going to give everything a quick spray from on top first of all, and then I'm going to fill these trays up. These ones don't have holes in, so they're going to hold a fair bit of water in the bottom, and I'm going to fill them up with about 1 inch to 2 inches of water on both sides, because bearing in mind this potting media is completely dry that we were working with. Well, not completely dry, but had very little moisture in it, so it's going to absorb a lot. So what I'll do is I'll fill them up today, and then tomorrow I'll come back, check the water level, top them up to the point where they're not absorbing any more moisture, and we know we've got, because I mean they're going to suck up loads into the compost. And I had done a little bit more research since, and the key with this stuff is not to give up hope. Apparently it can take a really long time for them to germinate. Some people have reported it taking up to 9 months for the seeds to actually germinate. Now I think that's highly unlikely given the conditions I'm growing them in. I think in less than ideal conditions that may be a factor, but I certainly hope not. 9 months is a long time to wait for bloody anything. It's ridiculous, really. I certainly hope that's not going to be the case, but only time will tell. So we'll have to just wait and see. like I said, I don't think it's going to take 9 months for these puppies to germinate. It's nice and warm in here. It's still getting up to 21 degrees centigrade in here during the day, every single day. There's no real direct sunlight this time of year due to the location of the property, which is kind of ideal for these guys. So I can't see it taking that long for this to happen, but we'll have to just wait and see. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. I recommend any of you go out and get these and just give them a try. I think it was £2.50, £3 for each pack. Was it Plants World Seeds? Check it out on the internet anyway. Yeah, they have a huge variety of seeds on there, and for the sake of £3, I think it's worth a shot. They'll grow quite happily in the same environment you provide for your orchids, so it's probably worth a shot. Remember, if you like these videos and you want to see more, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like down below, and if you feel like it, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.